Hey guys, what's up? Okay, this is my explant story of removing my 22-year-old breast implants. Pretty long story, but I'm going to keep it as succinct and to the point as possible. So, 22 years ago, I got under the muscle saline breast implants. And I thought they were fine because they were saline, which, even as the surgeon explained to me and made sense to me, if they ruptured or leaked, it's just salt water, so it's not going to harm you, right? So it made sense in theory. And I got them inserted through my underarms. They roll them up like a little cigar, as he explained it, inserts it under the muscle through your underarms, and then pumps them full of saline. So, and when I got them, one of my girlfriends had had her implants done with him several years before. And she said to me, when you see him, can you ask him, when do I need to have them replaced, or do I need to have them replaced? And he said to me, no, that's old technology. Now, if you never have a problem, they're fine. You never need to have them replaced. Quote, pretty much. So anyway, I digress. So as time goes on, I think I'm fine. Like some women, get breast implants and they're sick right away. Some have like a capsular contracture, which is like tightening and hardening. I never had any of that. And here I am thinking I'm fine. And there's some things that happen over the years that maybe I could relate back. I'm honestly really not sure. But here's what started happening. 22 years later, they still look great, but I wasn't feeling well. And I'm honestly trying to pinpoint like how long that was going on for. And I can't even recall when the first time I noticed it was, but one of the things is, I was always having these dizzy spells to the point that it just became normal to me. Like every time I stood up, I'd be super dizzy. And it just, it became my normal. But then other things started happening. So, and I think it's important to note that I live a really healthy lifestyle. Like I quit drinking alcohol 2.5 years ago. I exercise, I eat super healthy. Like I'm a nutritionist, for God's sake. Like I really live a healthy lifestyle. So these things were weird for me. So aside from the dizzy spells, I had this like apathy towards life. Like I just started feeling like nothing brought me joy. Like I was just like deadpan emotions. And then I started waking up in the middle of the night, like having these panic attacks, like it was weird. Like my heart was just racing, and I couldn't get back to sleep. And I felt like the world was ending. And it was just the biggest panic of my life. And this was unusual. I never had these before. So that started happening. Then I started thinking, oh my gosh, is this like menopause? Because I'm 50. So I thought maybe this is what menopause does to you. Or maybe we have mold in our home and I'm experiencing mold toxicity. So symptoms kept getting worse and worse. Then I was basically depressed. I was having all these anxiety attacks. My heart, I would just have palpitations out of nowhere, which was scaring me. But two major things happened that got me really concerned. And one of them was I was actually doing this podcast with this lady, and then the recording shut off, thank God. And then after the recording, her and I were just chatting. And as I was sitting here chatting with her, to me, it felt like the room started moving up and down like this. And I was so embarrassed because I thought, can she tell? And also, thank God the recording's off now, because to me, it felt like, the feeling when you get off an elevator sometimes and you feel like the world is still moving around you. That's how I was feeling, just sitting there. So it happened that first time, and then not maybe days later, it happened again. And I was just sitting on the sofa and I was talking to my boyfriend, who was on the other sofa, and the same thing. It looked like the room was moving up and down like this. And I'm like, what the hell is happening to me? And then it started happening more and more frequently. And then the second thing that really scared me was I was just going to the gym to renew my membership. And I put in my credit card in the machine, and the same credit card I've had for several years with the same PIN number. And for the life of me, I could not remember that PIN number. And it's like I saw the 4 digits of it, and I saw them floating around. I could not put them in the right order to save my life. And then I started worrying. I'm like, am I having like early onset dementia or something. What the hell's happening to me? And anyway, I couldn't remember it. And I tried 3 times and it locked me out and it locked my credit card. So anyway, these things started happening more and more frequently, and these were all highly unusual. And I cannot remember how I became aware of breast implant illness, but I somehow in my searches it came across somewhere. So I started looking into it a little bit more, and I found this Facebook group. There's 200,000 women in there with breast implant illness, and so I joined this group, and I was just reading about some of the symptoms, and a lot of them were me. And so I thought, I don't know if that's what I have, but something is seriously freaking wrong with me, and why don't I just get them taken out? Because the more I learned about them, I'm like, holy crap, like these are silicone chemical shells in my body over my vital organs of my lungs and my heart. Like, what the hell was I thinking? So regardless, I wanted them out at this point. You know, they increase your risk of cancer and all this kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm 50 and I'm not messing around with my health. So to find a surgeon, they have like a companion website with a list of recommended surgeons. And these are people who these women have gone to personally. And they are doctors that believe in breast implant illness, because a lot of them still don't. And they're surgeons who do the surgery properly, because it has to be done properly or you're not going to get relief from your symptoms. And by properly, that basically means a full capsulectomy. So when you get your breast implants, you know, to protect you from them, your body will form scar tissue around them. And that has to be removed with the surgery. Now, the best way is an en-bloc capsulectomy, which is what I had, where they remove it with the breast implant. Now, for some ladies, that capsule has gone to other places, and so they need to go in and get it out, which is a little trickier, but you need to make sure that your surgeon commits to doing that, because I've also read so many stories of other women who have had to go back for a second surgery because they had them removed, and the doctor's like, oh, no, it's no big deal, and then they still remain sick, and they have to go back and have a second surgeon remove all the capsule. Now, usually when you get them removed with the capsule, the surgeon will take a picture of them kind of as soon as they remove them and send them to you. After asking 20 times, I still haven't gotten that picture. However, he did show me when I was in recovery, when I was still in the hospital, the picture of them, and also gave them to me to take home, which I'm going to tell you some things that I wish I would have done differently, so you can do them differently than I did. So this is the capsules here, and this is them after being in solution. So my doctor gave them to me in solution to take with me in case I wanted to send them to pathology. It's the first time I've ever heard of a doctor giving them to the patient to send to pathology. Like, where the heck am I sending them? I have no idea. So I never did. I kept them for a little while, and then I took pictures of them, and then I threw them out. Like, I don't know what I'm doing with these things. So you have to make sure those are removed. You know, a lot of times there's, you know, bacteria and mold and gross stuff in them. So anyway, so I had a full en-bloc capsulectomy, which means that the surgeon removed the implants with the capsule. So anything that potentially was making me sick is no longer making me sick or causing inflammation, whatever. The other thing, so two things. One thing, I'm very, very happy. So I got my surgery done in Cancun, Mexico, and the doctor was on the list of recommended doctors. And I paid for that surgery 85,000 pesos, which is, I think, $4,300 US. And maybe 5,500 Canadian dollars, something like that. And that included like the anesthesiologist and everything except for the pre-ops, which are, you know, some ultrasounds and blood work and medications afterwards, like some pain medication and stuff like that. Those are separate, but they were minimal cost. So to find the surgeon, I found him from the companion website from the Breast Implant Illness and Healing. So what I am happy about is he absolutely believes in breast implant illness. He did do a full en bloc capsulectomy. What I am not really happy about, to be honest, is that he didn't send them to pathology. Again, this is kind of my fault for not insisting. And I'm hoping you don't make the same mistakes I do. The second thing, which is very, very interesting, I had my implants under the muscle, and I guess I didn't ask the questions properly enough before the surgery. But if you recall, I had them inserted from under my underarm, so I've never had an incision under the breast, ever. So I assumed, never assume, that because this would be the first time I'm getting an incision there, he'd be cutting the muscle to get them out from under the muscle. And so then he'd be repairing the muscle. I was wrong. So after I came out of surgery, I just said, okay, everything went well. Yes, everything went well. Okay, did you repair the muscle? And he goes, no, there was no muscle there. I'm like, what do you mean there's no muscle there? And he said, I did the first incision, which was the skin. And then I went to do the second incision, which is the muscle, but there's no muscle there. I'm like, where the hell's the muscle? And he said, well, when you got the implants, your implant doctor would have released the muscle. Like, what the hell are you talking about? So, did not know this, and I think a lot of people don't know this. I assumed that because I had my implants put through my underarm, that he just tucked them under the muscle and filled them up, and that was it. But that's not the case. Apparently what happened is when he inserted them, and I guess a lot of doctors do this, which I've now learned, is they then go under where the muscle is in the bottom and they cut it and they release it so that there's more room for the implant, and so that it sits better, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so no, he told me he didn't fix it. He didn't see it there. I'm like, all right, so is that a problem? Like, he said, no, unless you want to be a professional bodybuilder, it's not a problem. That being said, I should have done more research and asked the right questions, because personally, I am uneasy with having my pectoral muscles be somewhere up here, like a friggin' window blind. Like, I don't know where they are. I'm uncomfortable with it. I don't feel good about it. And probably in another year or so, when I'm completely healed, I most likely am going to go have another surgeon do muscle repair to do that. As well, I will probably be having a lift. So if you were considering Explant, you're probably wanting to know about the actual recovery and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to have a lift with the Explant surgery. However, he wouldn't do it because I have zero breast tissue. So before I got my implants, I was like completely flat chested, like an A. And then I was like a double D for 22 years. So I knew, and I don't have good skin elasticity, so I knew that there would be loose skin. I really wanted the lift. He wouldn't do it. So he said, you can give it, a year to heal. And what happens is, your breasts fluff after explant. So I never actually understood what that meant, but I do now. So it's pretty interesting, actually. So when you have breast implants, the implant presses against your breast tissue cells. So, for example, when you lose weight, like your fat cells will never disappear, but they'll shrink. And then if you gain weight again, you don't get new fat cells. The fat cells just expand and shrink. Same with breast tissue cells, which I had no idea. So he said what happened is, like with the implants, your implants are putting so much pressure on your breast tissue cells. He told me they atrophy, but atrophy means die. So I don't know. But anyway, they squish together. So then when you get your implants out, most times they look really bad, like mine did. And he said, don't worry, now that the pressure's off from the implants, now they'll have more space to like kind of expand, which is what people call fluffing. So I had my explant 4.5 months ago, and they did, in fact, start fluffing out. And to be completely honest, I see these pictures of these ladies that have theirs taken out, and they look so good. And I'm like, ooh, that's great. They're going to look great, but they're just going to be small. That was not the case with me. They do not look amazing. One of them does not look good at all. And that's one other thing I'm going to mention here is everything was great to a point. So when I had the explant, and then I saw my doctor the next day after explant for a checkup. Everything was fine. I had drains for 5 days. So then I came back to see him at 5 days to remove the drains. And then I came back to see him at 1 month. And at 1 month, one of my breasts was kind of deformed. And so it's kind of folded over. And so I said to him, like, why did that happen? And like, is there something I can do about it? Like, meaning, should I do some massage or cupping, or how should I do that, like to help the healing? This is where I'm no longer completely pleased. He said that before implant, my breasts must have been really uneven and bad, and one of them was bad, and that the implants made them even and look good. And now that the implants were gone, that one looked bad again. My boobs before I got my implants were 1000% perfect, except they were just really, really, really small. So I told him that's not true. Like, they were perfect before I got implants. And he said, do you have pictures to prove it? Swear to God. So this is where kind of things went south for me. I said, I don't have them on me. Like, this is 22 years ago. It's not when everybody, I don't even think iPhones were invented then, to be honest. But anyway, I did not have pictures, but I came home and called my implant doctor's office in Toronto, who did them 22 years ago, because they always take pictures before. And I said to the lady, the receptionist, I'm like, it's kind of a long shot, but do you happen to keep patients' files? And she goes, yeah, we absolutely do. We keep them up to 10 years. And I'm like, crap. Okay. And I said, again, it's a long shot, but here's the story. I'm looking for these photos. She goes, you know what, I'm going to check. She checked. She goes, you won't believe it. I have your file from 22 years ago. She did not have the photos, but she had the full written file. I said, that's cool. Can you send me the whole operative report, like all the files? Because maybe it'll say in there that everything was great. It didn't say anything really, but anyway, it is what it is. I was very disappointed that I wasn't blaming him that one of them looked funky. I was just asking why that happened, and is there something I personally can be doing to help it heal properly so it doesn't heal like this? So anyway, he basically told me it was my fault and that they looked like that before. And then when I insisted that they did not, then he said, well, it was the fault of your surgeon who put them in. I'm like, okay. He goes, well, that's how he did them, and the way that he did them made it look like this. And, you know, people just don't know the right questions to ask before surgery. That's what he said to me. So I said to him, okay, if that's the case, and it was the way that the implant surgeon did them that is making this one look like this right now, then why don't they both look like that? Like, one of them looks fine and the other one looks this way. Anyway, he just totally blew me off, and it's my fault, and then it was the implant surgeon's fault. So I'm going to be honest, that left a really bad taste in my mouth. Like, I wasn't blaming him. I was just asking, like, why does this happen, and is there anything I can do to help it fix it? Anyway, I was not happy about that. So here we are with no muscle repair. Again, honestly, my fault for not asking the right questions about that. I assumed that he would do what was the right thing to do and fix it. He insists that there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know. I just think when your muscles aren't attached and they're supposed to be, that's not right. So I probably will have that fixed in a year or so when everything is perfectly healed, as well as if the basic deformity hasn't fixed it, which is it is looking better, I'm not going to lie. But if it hasn't fixed itself completely, then I'll I think, have that fixed at the same time. Um, Now, the recovery, a lot of people have asked me about this. To be honest, like the recovery for me was pretty simple. Like it was a lot easier than getting the implants. I was cleared to go back to the gym at 6 weeks. I didn't really feel ready. At 6 weeks, I was still really, really, really sore. Like the whole time, I was never once in pain. I just felt super sore as if I had worked out for like 10 hours. So I went back to the gym, I think at 8 weeks probably. And now 4.5 months later, I'm like, I've been fully back to the gym for, 2 months. So at 2.5 months, I was completely fine. Um, the one thing I do want to say is that if you're not feeling right and you can't explain it any other way, had I known then what I know now, I obviously never would have gotten them. And if you're someone who's thinking about getting them and you're just doing a little bit of research right now, everybody's got to do what's right for them. I personally wouldn't. So there's other things that could have been related. I don't know. I had dental problems for years, and was it related to my breast implants? I never would have thought so. But after my explant, 2 weeks later, the only pain that I felt was pain in my mouth, and my face swelled up like this 2 weeks after my explant, which is so bizarre to me. And I'm almost wondering, is this like my teeth's way of, in my mouth's way of healing? Like, were these implants causing this problem? Because you got to think your body's fighting this foreign objects in your body this whole time. So that's taking away from, strengthening and taking care of other parts of your body. Anyway, so that's it. 22 years under the muscle, saline. Saline is not safe. It is in a silicone shell. The silicone shell is a foreign body. I didn't know what it was. I can say I am 80 to 85% better, not 100%. But I waited this long to make this video to make sure that I did feel better, and because otherwise I would be like, okay, it wasn't the breast implants. Now I got to find out what it is. Was it menopause? Was it mold toxicity? Because I was just having so many neurological issues that didn't really seem to make sense. Anyway, I can now safely say that I feel better. The implants are removed. So I am comfortable saying that it was the breast implants that were causing me those issues. The other thing that's questioning, why did they start affecting me now instead of before? I don't know. I think there's a lot of unknowns. Maybe it was just working its way up and my immune system finally couldn't take it anymore. Maybe it's because I am hitting menopause and then that just kind of set it off. I don't know. But I do know that I removed them and I feel better. So I hope that helps you in some way. And if you are looking to explant, I'm going to put the link below this video for that Facebook group I was part of. There's 200,000 women in there, and their stories were very encouraging. It's a really supportive environment, and it really helped me a lot. So, and there's everybody posts their before and after pictures, and I found that very helpful as well because I didn't know what to expect. So I hope that helps you in some way. And you're also welcome to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you, and I hope you feel better too.